Okay, so you think you know Airbnb.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, get ready for this deep dive because we're going behind the scenes of this company, this multi-billion-dollar company,
Yeah.
from its humble beginnings
Humble is
to
real.
its explosive growth and even into some of the controversies along the way.
Definitely some controversies.
Yeah, our source for this is Magnates Media's YouTube video, The Dark Truth About Airbnb.
Oh, a good one.
And, buckle up because we're going to uncover how they really made it big,
Mhm.
the brilliant moves that got them there, and the ethical quandaries that came with their success.
So what's really fascinating to me about Airbnb's story
Mhm.
is how it totally flips the script on, what we think of as traditional business success.
Right.
Forget MBAs and business plans.
Yeah.
These guys were just trying to avoid eviction.
Literally. Okay,
Yeah.
so picture this. It's 2007. Brian and Joe are facing eviction, and this big design conference is coming to town, filling up every hotel room. They were desperate, and that desperation sparked an idea. Why not rent out some air mattresses on their floor?
It's almost too simple.
Right.
But they weren't plotting world domination.
You know.
They were just trying to stay afloat.
Exactly. They threw together this basic website, called it Air Bed and Breakfast, and hoped for the best.
I love that name.
I know, it's so descriptive.
Mhm.
And get this, they actually made around $1,100 in just a few days.
Wow.
Not bad for a last-ditch effort, huh?
Not bad at all. But even then, they still didn't really see it as the big idea.
Which brings us to, wait for it, serial entrepreneurship.
Right. This is where things take a wild turn.
Yeah.
So they were trying to come up with other business ideas, but nothing really seemed to stick.
Oh, I can just imagine Brian's mom like, what on earth is he doing with his life after that air mattress thing?
Exactly. Well, another rent deadline was looming,
Oh, no.
and they went back to that breakfast part of Air Bed and Breakfast. But this time, they went all in on this crazy idea
Okay.
of making limited edition breakfast cereals,
It's okay.
themed around the upcoming presidential election.
Oh, love it.
Obama O's and Captain McCain's.
Brilliant.
They actually designed the boxes,
What?
bought generic cereal, and glued everything by hand.
Wow. They were hustling.
Serious hustle. And it gets better.
Oh, come on.
This quirky PR stunt landed them national media attention, features on CNN, and people were actually reselling those boxes for hundreds of dollars online.
No way.
They turned cereal into a collector's item.
That's amazing.
So what can we learn from this besides the fact that they were, clearly marketing geniuses?
Yeah, it's a masterclass in bootstrapping. It shows that you don't need a huge budget or fancy resources to get attention, just creativity and a willingness to, put in the work.
Couldn't agree more. It speaks to their resourcefulness,
Yeah.
their ability to turn a challenging situation into an opportunity.
Yeah, they weren't even trying to build a cereal empire. They were using it as a stepping stone.
A stepping stone to something bigger, which leads them to apply to Y Combinator, one of the most prestigious startup accelerators out there.
Huge.
But this time, their pitch falls flat.
Why do you think that is?
Well, think about it. The idea of inviting strangers into your home was pretty radical back then.
Yeah, for sure.
And their business model, taking a small cut of each booking, didn't exactly scream future unicorn,
I bet there were a lot of skeptical investors.
probably.
But remember that box of Captain McCain's cereal that Joe brought to the interview?
Ah, yes, the cereal that saved the day. The interviewer was clearly intrigued by their persistence.
Yeah.
That out-of-the-box thinking, he saw something in them, something beyond just air mattresses.
I mean, it's almost like that cockroach analogy. No matter what, they just wouldn't give up.
And that's a crucial insight for anyone looking to understand what makes a successful startup.
Yeah.
Investors often bet on the founders,
More than the idea.
way more than the initial idea.
Huh.
They saw Brian Joe's grit, that willingness to pivot and adapt,
Nice.
and getting into Y Combinator. Well, that was a game changer.
Definitely.
That's when they started making some key changes, like dropping the airbed restriction
Makes sense.
and realizing they needed to offer more diverse accommodation options.
Right.
They also made this pivotal discovery about the power of visuals.
Okay.
Travelers weren't booking places with blurry, poorly lit photos.
Yeah.
So they invested in professional photography for their listings in the world of online marketplaces.
Yeah.
A picture really is worth 1,000 words.
That's so true. And they weren't afraid to, think outside the box. They even started poaching listings from Craigslist, tapping into this existing market of people seeking alternative accommodations.
Brilliant move.
So smart. And their
Uh,
timing couldn't have been better.
The 2008 recession hit hard.
Right.
People were looking for extra income, and travelers were seeking more affordable options.
Yeah.
Airbnb was perfectly positioned to capitalize on both.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm, but it wasn't just luck, right?
Right. It seems like they were early to grasp the power of, what we call network effects.
Yeah.
They understood that the more hosts they had,
Yeah.
the more attractive the platform became to travelers and vice versa.
Right.
Each new user, host, or guest added value to the network, leading to exponential growth.
And they built this scalable platform from the very beginning, using technology to manage payments, match users, and create a seamless experience.
It was a combination of brilliant timing,
Yeah.
a keen understanding of market dynamics, and, of course, their tech savviness
Yeah.
that fueled their phenomenal rise. But as with any story of rapid growth, there's often a darker side.
And that's where the story of EJ comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, we're doing a deep dive into the dark truth about Airbnb.
Right.
And this is where we start to see some of those cracks in the, sharing economy facade.
EJ's experience as a host,
Yeah.
where her apartment was completely trashed by an Airbnb guest,
Oh,
really exposed the vulnerability of a platform that relies heavily on trust between strangers.
I can imagine.
Her blog post about the experience went viral,
Wow.
putting Airbnb in the hot seat.
Big time.
They were initially slow to respond,
Okay.
but then Brian makes this bold move.
What did you do?
He goes against legal advice and writes this heartfelt public apology, and more importantly, announces a $50,000 host guarantee
Wow.
and 247 customer support.
That's huge.
It was a huge risk, but it showed their commitment to the hosts,
Right.
which was critical for their continued growth.
For sure.
It was a defining moment, not just for Airbnb, but for the entire sharing economy.
I see that.
It forced everyone to confront those complexities of trust and accountability
Yeah.
when you're dealing with people's homes and personal belongings.
And it wasn't the last challenge Airbnb would face.
No.
As they continued to expand, a whole new battleground emerged. Regulation.
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The very nature of Airbnb, disrupting the traditional hotel industry,
Right.
inevitably led to clashes with existing laws and regulations.
Yeah.
The YouTube video specifically mentions New York and Berlin
Oh, yeah.
as prime examples of cities where Airbnb faced significant pushback. These cities, with their established hotel industries and concerns about rising housing costs, took very different approaches to regulating short-term rentals,
Yeah.
sparking intense debates about the role of platforms like Airbnb in shaping urban landscapes.
And these weren't just legal battles. They
Yeah.
touched on deep-rooted social and economic anxieties
Definitely.
about affordable housing, the rights of tenants and landlords,
Definitely.
and the very soul of neighborhoods being transformed by the influx of short-term visitors.
Right, absolutely. And just as Airbnb was grappling with these complex regulatory challenges,
Yeah.
Brian has another big idea: to move beyond just bedrooms
Okay.
and become a full-fledged travel platform.
Bold.
The Experiences Marketplace was born,
I love that.
where you could book everything from alpaca farm visits to fire spinning lessons.
So cool.
It was a bold move, but was it spreading their resources too thin? Was it a distraction from the core business?
It definitely signaled their ambition to become more than just a place to find a bed for the night.
Exactly.
They wanted to capture a larger slice of that travel market, to become synonymous with experiences, not just accommodations.
Right. It's fascinating to see how this seemingly simple idea of renting out an air mattress evolved into such a complex and multifaceted business.
And just when you thought things couldn't get more turbulent,
What now?
the world was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic,
Oh, yeah.
throwing everything into chaos, pushing Airbnb to the brink.
Oh.
And that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of this deep dive. So we left off with Airbnb facing this monumental disruption.
Yeah, the COVID-19 pandemic.
Talk about a crisis
I
moment.
mean, the travel industry basically shut down overnight.
Right.
Borders closed, and for a company built on, global travel,
Yeah.
the impact was devastating.
I can't even imagine. Bookings must have vanished overnight.
They did. Airbnb faced this wave of cancellations totaling over $1 billion.
Wow, $1 billion.
They were in this truly impossible position,
I bet.
caught between travelers demanding refunds and hosts relying on that income.
Oh, that's a tough one. What did they do? What do you even do with $1 billion dilemma?
They made the tough call to prioritize the health and safety of their users
Okay.
and, the broader community.
Yeah.
They overrode existing cancellation policies and issued refunds,
Wow.
even if it meant disappointing some hosts.
Right, because that must have created some serious friction within their host community.
Oh, for sure.
Because, I mean, the hosts are the backbone of the entire platform.
Absolutely. They knew they had to act swiftly to kind of repair the damage and maintain trust.
Right.
So they established a $250 million relief fund to help hosts weather the storm.
$250 million, that's an enormous investment, especially when their own revenue had taken a massive hit.
It was a huge gamble, but a necessary one. They needed to demonstrate their commitment to their hosts,
Yeah.
even in the face of this global crisis. And remember, at this point, Airbnb was still grappling with profitability challenges.
Right, which makes this move even more striking. It really underscores how much they valued their community, even if it meant potentially impacting their bottom line.
And this brings us to another kind of pivotal moment.
Okay.
Their shift to, like, nearby travel.
Okay, so with international travel off the table, they encourage people to, explore their own backyards, promoting those local stays and experiences.
It was a lifeline, a way to adapt and generate some revenue.
Right.
But there's a nuance here that's often overlooked.
Oh, okay.
This pivot, while seemingly beneficial for everyone,
Yeah.
might have inadvertently benefited Airbnb more than some of their hosts.
Really? I mean, wouldn't any booking be a good thing during that kind of downturn?
Well, think about it. People traveling locally
Yeah.
often opt for shorter stays, maybe just like a weekend getaway.
Right.
For hosts with multiple properties.
Yeah.
This meant more frequent cleanings,
Ah.
more turnovers, more work,
Right.
but not necessarily more profit.
So while Airbnb as a company saw an uptick in bookings, some individual hosts were still struggling.
Yeah, even with that relief fund.
Huh. It kind of exposes this fundamental tension in their business model.
Right.
Airbnb's success isn't always directly tied to the success of each individual host.
Exactly. And that raises a critical question that's been swirling around Airbnb for years.
Okay, what's that?
Can they actually achieve sustained profitability?
That's the billion-dollar question.
It is. The YouTube video points out that they have yet to report an annual profit since their inception.
Interesting.
Some analysts argue that their cost structure,
Yeah.
the constant need for innovation,
Right.
expansion, navigating those regulatory hurdles,
Yeah.
make sustainable profitability extremely challenging.
Plus, they're competing with those established players like hotels and those other booking platforms.
Exactly. And there's this relentless pressure to attract new users and maintain that impressive growth trajectory.
It's a complex equation with a lot of moving parts.
For sure.
So despite their, phenomenal success, Airbnb's future remains kind of uncertain.
Their journey has been a roller coaster ride, from air mattresses and cereal boxes
I know, it's wild.
to this global travel phenomena.
Yeah.
They faced countless obstacles, emerged stronger. But those fundamental questions about their business model
Yeah.
and long-term viability, those linger.
It makes you wonder, can they truly balance the needs of hosts, guests, and the communities they operate in
Right.
while navigating this landscape that's, constantly shifting?
And ultimately, can their vision of this sharing economy truly benefit everyone involved?
Right. These are the questions we'll continue to grapple with as we delve into the final part of our deep dive. It's incredible to think about
What's that?
how a company that started with a simple solution,
Right.
two guys just needing to pay rent,
Yeah.
sparked this global conversation about the future of travel, the impact on housing, and the very definition of sharing.
It really highlights that power of innovation, you
Yeah.
know, to disrupt entire industries and challenge our assumptions about, how things work.
Right. But disruption often comes with a price, right?
Absolutely. And the question becomes, who ends up paying that price?
Yeah. And it's true. The story of Airbnb is much more than just a business case study.
And for sure.
It reflects these larger societal shifts, anxieties, aspirations that we're all grappling with.
I think about Airbnb, and it really taps into that deep-seated desire
For what?
for authentic experiences,
Yeah.
for human connection,
Yeah.
for a sense of belonging in a world that can feel increasingly isolating and homogenous.
It's that allure of living like a local,
Right.
Stepping outside that tourist bubble and experiencing a destination through the eyes of someone who actually calls it home.
Exactly. And for hosts, it's an opportunity to generate income,
Right.
to share their passions, connect with people from all over the world.
Yeah. But as we've discussed, there's also this potential for unintended consequences.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The impact on housing markets, that blurring of lines between visitors and residents.
It's a complex equation.
It really is this web of benefits and drawbacks
Right.
with no easy answers.
No easy answer.
And this conversation...
Far from over.
Right, and that's what makes this deep dive so compelling.
It is.
It's not about finding all the answers.
No.
It's about prompting deeper reflection and critical thinking.
Couldn't agree more.
So as you continue to explore the world, whether it's, across continents or just a few blocks away,
Yeah.
keep this story in mind. Like, what role do platforms like Airbnb play in shaping your travel experiences?
It's a good question.
What are the trade-offs?
Yeah, what are they?
And how can we, as, travelers, hosts, community members, ensure that the benefits of innovation are shared equitably?
I mean, Airbnb's journey,
Yeah.
from those early days of air mattresses
I know, crazy.
and serial entrepreneurship
Right.
to their current position as like this global giant
Right.
reminds us that even the most disruptive ideas
Yeah.
are constantly evolving, adapting, facing new challenges.
We have to.
And ultimately,
Yeah.
it's up to us to engage in that ongoing dialogue about how these platforms shape our world.
That's right. The future of travel, just like the future of Airbnb, is still being written.
Absolutely.
And your choices, your voice, your actions, they're all part of that story.
They are.
So keep exploring, keep questioning,
Yes.
keep the conversation going.
The
The deep dive.
What about it?
It's only scratched the surface.
There's always more to discover.